Many economists say the United States will fall into a recession next year, according to a new poll by the Financial Times and the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business. Indeed, 70% of the 49 economists polled said they thought we'd declare a recession in 2023. Of course, whether or not those concerns prove to be correct remain to be seen. With increasing anxiety around the topic, it's natural for you to be concerned or at least curious about how the impending recession affects you and whether or not there is any way for you to protect yourself during this time. Welcome to Recession Preppers. Make sure to stay tuned till the end. Suppose you're not well positioned for an economic downturn at all times. Could I be risking everything from losing my job and all my retirement savings? These thoughts surely increase your anxiety about your financial well-being as you're hearing that you may be in a recession or one is inevitable. It's okay that you don't feel things are okay, but what you shouldn't do is make moves based on recessionary fears that can put you in a worse position financially. With that said, let's look at some basic ways you can prepare for a potential recession in the upcoming times. Most importantly, don't panic. Yes, prices for basic necessities have skyrocketed, and no one is predicting that will dissipate anytime soon. Yes, the Federal Reserve has raised benchmark interest rates, and the cost of debt is on the rise. And yes, opening recent 401ks investment statements has likely been a gasp-inducing exercise, but the expert advises to keep cool and don't be tempted to react by liquidating current investments as a tactic to avoid further losses. A recession could be in store, but they're typically short-lived. The last one, amid the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic, only lasted 3 months. The same is true for bear markets. And the recoveries that come on the back end of recessionary periods create the best opportunities in terms of gains for those who stay the course. Remember that investing is a long game. You may experience a short-term loss, but if you just hold on, history shows us that the market will recover over time. You don't have to be a genius to do well in the market. You just have to have discipline. Get rid of your credit card debt now. Job number 1 for anyone with a credit card is to pay off their balances as soon as possible. Address personal debt, especially the high-interest variety. When a recession may be on the way and interest rates are rising rapidly, it's even more important. Better eliminate high-interest debt while I can. If you can think in that way and act now, when a recession comes along, you won't have to scramble to stay afloat. You'll be able to get through just fine and will save you from falling into a debt trap. One way to tackle the debt is to get a low-interest personal loan or sign up for balance transfer credit card. You can dig out of the debt a lot faster if you transfer high-interest debt to a credit card with a 0% rate. Stockpile savings and make an emergency fund. Save while you have the extra money because a recession can quickly change your circumstances. If you don't have a good emergency fund, consider canceling a vacation or putting off an expensive renovation project that isn't necessary. For many people right now, this inflation problem is akin to an emergency. You don't want to have to resort to debt if you lose your job or because your wages aren't keeping up with historically high inflation. Also, consider that the standard advice of having 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses may not be enough. It makes sense for workers to right-size their emergency reserves based on their own situations. Younger workers may have more flexibility in their lifestyle to get a roommate or two, or switch career paths to take advantage of new job opportunities. So their emergency reserves can run closer to that 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses recommendation. But if you're an older worker and can't change your housing situation, or you're in a highly paid specialized position and replacing your income could take longer if you lose your job, then having a year's worth of savings would be a better option. Diversify your portfolio. There are a record number of job openings. With the unemployment rate at 3.6%, the economy saw job gains in transportation, warehousing, leisure and hospitality, education, health services, and government, according to the Labor Department. But there is obviously a risk that unemployment could rise. Even if you don't need the money right now, it may be a good time to get a second job or find work in the gig economy to boost your income and savings. Don't underestimate the power of having bonds in your retirement portfolio. Typically, when stocks are down, bonds balance out your stock holdings, but bond prices have been hit as well. Still, in previous recessions, bonds have held up better than nearly any other market segment. In other words, don't throw them overboard because they're not performing well right now. They're an essential portfolio ingredient, especially for people who are in or getting close to retirement. Now's the time to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Make a plan and do it now. Preparation for a harder slog is critical, but you should also be ready to navigate worst-case scenarios. What would be your first step after an unexpected job loss? Can you make budget adjustments now, ahead of any potential future economic deterioration, to be in a better position to weather the storm? We can still make moves now without the real pressures that come with a recession, like unemployment or a loss of income. Hopefully, you'll never be in this situation, but it's smart to have a plan so that you're not potentially making bad decisions if the worst should come to pass. That's it for the video. Feel free to share your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon to stay updated about our next video.